at the vine as a palette and kind of as art rather than a science, and looking how the shoots are arrayed and where I want to start. What we try to do is I like to look in pairs. I like to look at the smaller than pencil and larger. The smaller than pencil width, I like to leave one bud. Larger than a pencil, leave two. So here's a bud, here's another. You trim here. I like to use the wide portion of the pruner at a bevel. Some of these we're just gonna take off.
Yeah, they just never had enough go power to do anything.
Right.
And if they do have any clusters on them, they won't ripen properly. So we want to force the shoots only on those buds that are going to give us the best vigor.
Yeah, you can see how close these are to starting to bud. You can see the moisture here starting to drip. Again, we have some. What do you think here, Greg? I think this maybe could come off.
Yeah, that one would come off. Yep.
And then just do that.
Yep.
I think we'll do like this.
Yes. Right.
Down here, larger than a pencil. Here's one bud. Here's another. We'll go like this.
Yep.
Again, two here, larger than a pencil. So we're going to leave two buds.
And one thing to notice is that this piton or position right here was actually last year's. And so what we're doing is next year when shoots come out of this, we'll see this as a position. And so every year we're kind of trying to keep that head pretty compact. We're not letting it wanting to range too far out. And that looks pretty good, Clark.
Yeah, so we'll just, continue like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is all smaller than a pencil, larger, two buds. Again, the bevel is important, having sharp pruners. It's important, so here's two here. Just cut these off. Yeah, so, if you have some that are, don't really look like they're going to grow back up into the middle or, grow into another shoot, you want to try to manage those.
Yeah, we'll pull those out so the shoots go further out later in the year. We'll also have to come back and do some suckering because there'll be a lot of little suckers.
Right.
And what we'll want to do is if we find suckers that are in actually a pretty good position, like if, let's say something comes out around here or some such, we'll actually leave those suckers in there. But for the most part, we'll take suckers out because you know the old saying, there's one born every minute. So there's two there. So I tend to like to cut pretty high up to leave a lot of wood between the bud and the cut. So if we take a look at this is going to have a lot of buds right here, so we want to clean that up and keep a lot of this down to one bud. And then this will have a lot of small shoots. We'll need to sucker that back a little bit to choose the healthiest ones. So counting our buds. Now, a little too far out. By the way, Clark, you've really become quite good at this.
Thanks, Greg. That is quite the compliment. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. You've taught me well.
Well, taking care of these old gals is part of maintaining the viticultural history of Sonoma County. These vines are the oldest Colombard in Sonoma County, and there are only 3 that we know of Colombard vineyards in Sonoma County right now. So, and at one point there was a lot more of these planted. As Clark said, this used to be 25 acres, and it's now down to 60-something vines.
Yeah.
But something like this should be cherished. A vineyard like this, Alexandre Dumas, a couple hundred years ago, wrote that a great Montrachet should be approached bareheaded and kneeling. And I really feel that vines like this, you want to genuflect, to bend your knee. And
well, it's nice to hear Greg talk about the vines in a historical sense. I look at everything as from a historical context. That's what got me into wine. And so being able to curate and farm these old vines means a lot to me.
Thank you for maintaining them, and rather than just uprooting them, for just giving our world a lovely vision of a slice of history of Sonoma County. And my hope is that anyone who tastes the Marchal French Colombard is going to feel that sense of history and that sense of place. And a lot of people say, well, French Colombard, you know, it's mostly used for distillation even in its native France. But these wines, for everyone that's tasted it, have actually said, wow, that's really a special wine. And it comes from very special grapes from some very special people who care.
Thanks. And I have made brandy out of it.
Oh.
So I will share some of that here soon.